A 73 years old African man who has lived in the United Kingdom for 33 years has had his indefinite leave to remain cancelled. While this man is all the way in Africa on family engagement, he only found out that his indefinite leave to remain has been cancelled when he went to the airport to catch his flight back to the UK. The man was shocked. He thought he was dreaming. Sit back as we unveil this story. If you know anyone that has indefinite leave to remain, which is permanent resident in the United Kingdom, kindly ensure that they see this video, because there are lifelong lessons that can be learned from the story of Mr. Vincent. Mr. Vincent is a grandfather. He is retired. He has houses in the UK. This man's story is the man as we speak right now. He is blaming his pastors while his wife is blaming the man. Let's dive into the story of Mr. Vincent. Frank is my name for anyone seeing my face for the first time. This is the channel where we share the latest diaspora news to inform and educate our audience. There is no substitute to information. Knowledge, they say, is power. Mr. Vincent first came to the United Kingdom around 40 years ago. He came to the UK. He was, at that time, he didn't have paper. He was using someone else's paper to work. One day, Mr. Vincent was at work, where he was later found out that he was using someone else's paper to work. The man was arrested. He was arrested and he was locked up, and he was later deported. He was deported back to his home country. The name that the man used to come to the country the first time, the man, meanwhile, before he was deported, he had a wife that they came together, but they didn't have papers. The wife was pregnant. She later had twins. The twins remained here. When Mr. Vincent was deported, the wife named the children with Mr. Vincent's name that is on his birth certificate. That's the name that he was used to deport it. When Mr. Vincent arrived in his home country, he said he wants to come back to the UK. He returned back to the UK. He returned back to the UK, this time around with a different name. He returned back to the UK with a different name. Remember, this man came to the country. The first time he came, he worked for over 2 years and he was arrested and sent back. So he now came back with another name. Altogether, the man is heading to almost close to 40 years that he has touched the soil of the United Kingdom. So Mr. Vincent came back with a fresh passport, fresh name, and the man was living in the UK. It took a while for Mr. Vincent to get papers in the UK. He eventually got papers in the UK, but this time around with another name. He got his paper. After some time, he got his indefinite leave to remain. This name that he had, this is not his family name. It was name that they were giving to him because he could not come back to the country with the first name that he was deported with. Vincent then had indefinite leave to remain. At the time that he had indefinite leave to remain, at that time, when you are applying for indefinite leave to remain, you don't have to take your fingerprint. This man had his indefinite leave to remain. He was traveling out of the country. Everything was okay. He initially was advised to apply for British passport. He said, no, I don't want British passport. I am okay with my country's passport. Eventually, I may end up returning back to my country and I'll just be visiting. So no need to apply for passport. Vincent later was advised again things are changing. Why don't you apply for passport? Say it's too expensive. Maybe the price will come down. That was all he was saying every time. Eventually, Vincent was on his own. This man is a man who is very, very religious. He's very close to his pastor. He said when one day the pastor then told him that Vincent had a dream, and in this dream you were traveling with British passport. Vincent never decided, he never thought about applying for British passport. He said when the pastor told him that, Vincent, I had a dream, and in that dream you were traveling with British passport. He said he now thought about applying for British passport. He consulted a lawyer who told him that because he was deported more than 35 years ago, that his name, his fingerprint will still be on record, that he should not apply for passport. Vincent listened to his lawyer. His wife told him, don't apply. But the reason why this man now said he wanted to apply was after the UK left EU, after Brexit. Before, Vincent said whenever he travels out of the country, when he's coming back, they never used to ask him for his fingerprint. They just give them his passport and they'll check and they'll come in. When the UK now left EU, people now told him that, Chief, this time around, when you go out of the country, if you're coming back, they will take your fingerprint. So Mr. Vincent now felt trapped in the country. He could not go out. He had things that he wanted to go and do outside. He could not go because he was worried that if he goes out of the country and is coming back, he put his finger on the machine at the airport, they might see that he was first deported with another name. And that would then cause problem for him because the name on his current passport is not the name that he was deported with. So the man felt trapped. So this man was listening to the advice that was given by a lawyer, and he said, okay, I'll just stay. After all, my twins that was born, they have grandchildren. I'm settled here. I don't even need to be going anywhere again. The man is now retired. So when the pastor now told him that, Vincent, I saw you traveling with British passport, the moment Vincent heard that, the advice that he was given by his lawyer and the wife who insisted that he shouldn't apply, Vincent just forget about that advice. He just said, no, the lawyer pastor has told me, at least I have listened to this pastor in the past and it helped me. Vincent then went ahead and submitted his application for naturalization. When Vincent submitted the application, it took a while. He didn't hear from them. He was anxious. From anxious, he was confused, worried. His friend that they applied together at the same time, this friend has got his own British passport and naturalization has come out. Vincent owned nothing. Whenever he calls them, they will tell him they are still doing investigation. They will get back to him. One day, Vincent was at home. He saw a letter in the post. Something said he should just open the letter. He opened the letter. He was very excited. That time, they've already told him that when he opened the letter, they told him that his citizenship has been denied. Here are the reasons below why your citizenship application has been denied. Vincent then looked at the reason. They told him that they've done forensic investigation and they have seen that he came to the country more than 35 years ago with a different name. So the name that he's now used to apply for naturalization is different from the name that he was deported with more than 30-something years ago. Vincent was shocked. He called again to the pastor to say, Pastor, this is what I have been told, that my citizenship, they've seen my name, that I have two names on the record. Pastor said, don't worry. Don't worry. I have seen vision that you will get your British passport. This is part of the delay. Don't forget that there will be prosecution, but at the end, your joy will come in the morning. Pastor prayed for him. The man listened. Meanwhile, this man had things that he has invested back home. Somebody now called him that the land that he bought, that he was using for farm, because he was stuck in the UK, couldn't go back. The people that were managing the business, they were using it to help themselves. Vincent, out of desperation, this is something he has spent a lot of his life saving on. He wanted to sell it. He will ask them to sell it. Today, they'll tell him £5. Tomorrow, they'll tell him £4. When he asked them to bring money, they'll say, no, it's not £1. The man became frustrated. He said, okay, let me quickly go back to my country. After all, they told me that my naturalization has been refused. They did not tell me that my indefinite leave to remain is no longer valid. What Vincent didn't know was that whilst all this thing was going on, the Home Office, they were doing their own surveillance for Vincent. Vincent, again, consulted the pastor. Pastor told him, the road is clear. I have prayed and I fasted. The road is cleared. Go ahead. Nothing will happen. This man bought ticket, went to Africa to do what he had to do, to sort out the whole things. Even the wife told me that the whole thing, despite the fact that the man was back home, the asset that he's labored for, all the thing that he's labored for all these years, that the period that he couldn't return back to Africa, the people have used it to help themselves. His niece, his nephews, they've sold everything, the machine that they were using to work in the farm, they've ruined everything because they know that the man had some problem. That's why the man could not come back, because a man that was very frequent in Africa, all of a sudden, since Brexit 2015 or 2001, the man hasn't left the country. So they were thinking that something is not right. So when Vincent eventually went there, he managed to do what he had to do. And he called his wife and said, I'm coming back. I'm on my way to the airport. Vincent carried his bag. He went to the airport. He gave them his passport. They checked the passport. They put it on the machine. They told him, Mr. Vincent, this is not a valid document. The document you're giving us is not valid. Meanwhile, the man had the olden days indefinitely to remain, not the card that they give for now, the one that they used to put the sticker on your passport. They told him this thing is not valid. And Vincent initially thought, they said, do you have another one? Do you have the card? He said, no, I've been in the UK for many years. I don't have the card. I have the old one. They put it again and said, no. Vincent told them, let me speak to your manager. You don't know what you're doing. The manager came. He put the thing on the light. He told him the thing is not valid. As soon as the manager told Vincent that it's not valid, Vincent, according to the wife, fell down and collapsed. The man was in shock. Why is my definite leave not valid? It was when his lawyer, who he now went back to, called the lawyer. The lawyer said, what is happening? He now narrated his experience to the lawyer. My nationalization was refused because they found my fingernail with different name. And now I am now in Africa, and they told me that my indefinite leave to remain is not valid. What is happening? The lawyer said, let me check and find out what was happening. By the time the lawyer came back, the lawyer told him that his indefinite leave to remain has been revoked. Why was it revoked? He said they told him that the indefinite leave to remain was obtained under deception. When he first came to the country, he came with a different name. He was deported. And that name that he was deported with, that is his real name. Now, the name that he came back with, that is not his real name. So because he obtained the indefinite leave to remain under deception, they have cancelled his indefinite leave to remain. This is a man who has lived in the United Kingdom legally for over 33 years. But he has lived in the UK before he was sent back home. Everything now is gone. This wife is saying that she does not know what is wrong with the man. Always, anything he wants to do, I need to consult pastor. I need to consult pastor. When he called the pastor and said, Pastor, this is pastor, say, don't worry. They will they will send another indefinite leave to remain to you. Your passport, you still get your passport. I had a dream that you were on British passport. Nothing can take your British passport away from you. Meanwhile, the man is still there in Africa. This is a man who is retired. As we are speaking now, we don't know if his pension is going to be stopped because the man lived here illegally. That was, everything he obtained, according to the Home Office, he obtained it through deception, which means that everything is being cancelled. What are your lessons? Do you have any sympathy for Vincent? So people said it was him, and because he was thinking with the pastor's emotion, that is what clouded his judgment. The man did not have any problem when he said he wasn't leaving the country. It was a pastor that advised him that he saw vision of him traveling with British passport, that he should go and apply for British passport. Because of that now, Vincent is not done. If you know anyone that has indefinite leave to remain, kindly ensure that they see this video. Let me know what your views are, whether you have any sympathy for Vincent, or do you think that you should continue to hope that the pastor's miracle will come true? Don't forget to give this video a like, share so that other people can learn,